All right, it's straight up noon. Mike Jarek here in the Fox 29 newsroom. What a morning we've had. A tremendous tragedy here in the city of Philadelphia this morning. 7 children and 6 adults were killed in a fire in a row home in Fairmount. This is right near the corner of 23rd and Ogden, again in the Fairmount section of the city. 2 other people were critically hurt inside of that 3-story home. This is, I guess, specifically the 800 block of North 23rd Street, but again, right off the corner of 23rd and Ogden. Jeff, I know you were at the press conference about an hour ago. What else have you learned there?
Well, the mayor actually came to the microphone first. The mayor called it, and he is not overstating it in any way. One of the most, if not the most, tragic day in the history of the city of Philadelphia. The deputy fire commissioner, who's worked apparently in this city for 35 years, called it the most horrific or horrible fire he has ever seen, and clearly the facts back that up. Let me have my photographer Mark Lavala push past me and show you 869 North 23rd Street. It's marked by that silver ladder running up to the 2nd floor. 869 North 23rd is a Philadelphia Housing Authority property. It's federal housing property in the city of Philadelphia. 13 people dead, 7 are children. 2 apartments in this building, say officials. 8 people, they say, were living on the 1st floor. Another 18 people living on the 2nd and 3rd floors of this structure. Again, a Philadelphia Housing Authority property. So when we asked the Housing Authority if that number, 26, is proper for that building, they said it was not. 4 smoke detectors in this building, say fire officials. They did not work. Let me say that again. Battery-powered smoke detectors did not work, says the fire department when they arrived here just after 6:30 or so this morning. The Philadelphia Housing Authority says in May of 2021, they did inspect the smoke detectors in this building, and they said they were all working. They said in an earlier inspection the year before, they had to actually replace some smoke detectors and replace some batteries, and say that they have had problems in the past with residents apparently altering these in some way. That's what they said. That certainly has not been tied to what has happened here, but that is part of what is being talked about now. Again, so at the scene here, what we're seeing now is relatives of family members, folks who know some of the people that lived inside this building, have been showing up here and have been looking at this fire scene in absolute shock. Mayor Jim Kenney, of course, was very emotional as he walked up to the mic, and it was understandable. Now, Sky Fox is on the scene, so we're going to run up to Sky Fox and give you a larger perspective of what's happened here in Fairmount, what this street looks like. It is a street of a very nice attached brick row homes. In the middle of this block is this PHA property where this tragedy has occurred. Now, the deputy fire commissioner here said that the fire marshal's office in the city of Philadelphia is the lead investigator here. Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, that is the federal fire investigatory agency, is also here. The fire marshal's office will be the lead, they say. They say that these people will not die in vain, they claim. They say, in fact, that they will find out what happened. Let's listen to Mayor Jim Kenney as he spoke at about 10:45 this morning.
This is, without a doubt, one of the most tragic days in our city's history. Loss of so many people in such a tragic way. I don't have much more to say than please keep all these folks, and especially these children, in your prayers. Losing so many kids is just devastating.
Mayor Jim Kenney understandably upset, speaking about what happened here. Again, 13 dead. 7 of them are children. Now, folks who live in this area, who know that property, say that you would often see kids playing around outside. There was a lot of activity in the home. Again, they're telling us 8 people living on the 1st floor and another 18 living on the 2nd and 3rd floors of this property. The fire call comes into this property at about 6:38, 6:39 this morning. The fire department says it gets here. It's sees heavy fire, heavy flames coming out of the second floor. Of course, there had to be heavy smoke as well. When they get into the building, they see 13 dead, 7 children. They will not say where in the property they found most of the victims here. It's a question we often ask, one that they would not answer. They have talked, of course, Mike, about the smoke detectors here. Obviously very, very important to alert folks to fire and smoke, and they did not work. The PHA is pushing back, saying that the last time they were here, they had put them in a position in May of 21 to work, but we have had a horrific tragedy here with the fire department saying that these lives, particularly the lives of children, will not be lost in vain, that they will find out, they claim, what happened here. One other point, they say that there was heavy smoke coming out of a kitchen area here and that the fire was running up a stairwell. I asked what was feeding the fire. They said, you know, the fire was being fed by contents inside this property and, of course, oxygen, so it can run right up the stairway. It's got a canalway to go right up in what was obviously a horrible and tragic fire, a historic, an ugly historic day early in 2022 in the city of Philadelphia. Mike.
That's for sure. A couple things there. I know that the Deputy Fire Commissioner was mentioning the inspection that you just reiterated. Not that long ago, in 2021, inspecting for the fire detectors, and they found them, had batteries in them. He said that some of these batteries will live, you know, for 10 years. The life on some of these lithium batteries will go for 10 years. So who knows? The investigation will have to figure out why they didn't go off. You say, too, that a total of 26 people in the 3 stories there. I understand that 8 people did get out, and you said that 8 people lived on the first floor?
Yes, yes. So it's a good question. So would those 8 be the folks who lived on the first floor? Hard to tell. But yeah, they did get 8 folks out of here. I think the smoke detectors will obviously be an important question. Obviously, would want to know the cause of this fire, where it started, how it started. But the smoke detectors, of course, will be a very, very important. You've gotten it right. They said they're 10-year batteries. They should have run for 10. So they should have been operating for 10. But here's what the PHA said. Now, here's what they said. They're saying this early on. Obviously, they're trying to offer facts and lay this thing out the way they see it. They say that sometimes batteries could be removed for some reason, or the smoke detectors could be altered. Don't know if that happened here. Don't know if that happened here, but they say that it has been a problem in some of their properties.
Yeah. I know the mayor was quick to mention that when we heard that 26 people were inside there, at least. And there was also an indication by the Deputy Fire Commissioner that they're still searching this scene. And, you know, hopefully they won't, but there's a possibility there are more people that have died in this fire. But 26 people, don't jump to conclusions. It's so cold outside. Could be any number of reasons why. Maybe relatives were over, needed shelter or whatever. But 26 is a high number for that size building.
Yeah, no question about it. It's 2 apartments. I mean, it's looks like 3 stories, but it's 2 apartments. So it looks like apparently the first floor, sort of the apartment there kind of melds into the second floor and makes for 2 apartments. Let me speak to what Kenny said. You've adequately quoted him. He said, I was the one who was pressing on the number of people in the building, and he said, hey, it's cold, it's winter, it's the holidays, there are issues, there is tight housing in the city of Philadelphia. So, you know, folks were possibly looking for warmth and shelter, and so they were inside the building. Yes, that is the argument clearly that the mayor was making here, but certainly that is a large number of folks and can lead with that number of people to the kind of tragedy that's happened here when you've got a active, burning, heavy fire kicking smoke.
Jeff, you've been here with us and working for us and with us for years. Is it unusual for the homicide detectives to be at a scene like this?
I don't think so. No, when you've got this number of deaths, I do not think at all it's unusual. Let me speak to that, though. It's a really good important issue to raise. When asked, is this suspicious, they said, well, you know, it's not necessarily suspicious that they're here. I mean, we're going to look at all avenues. I don't think it's necessarily surprising that homicide would be here. They're going to try to bring in everybody who knows anything, about everything, to try to figure out what happened in here.
Great, Jeff. Thank you. Jeff, of course, will have a full report this evening at 5, 6, and also at 10 and 11. More information's coming in by the minute, so to get the most up-to-date information, just stick with our website, which is fox29.com. So again, 13 people dead in this horrific fire on this home near 23rd and Ogden in the Fairmount section of Philadelphia. 6 adults and 7 children were killed. An adult and a child were taken to the hospital in critical but stable condition. 8 people, as I mentioned, were able to escape. They probably were on the first floor.